Differently abled, differently.
Kibos Special Secondary School has been in existence since 2009. The dream is to make it a center of excellence once the challenges are addressed. Take a look.
Mr. Joshua Ombayo, the principal at Kibos Special Schools, desires to take the school to higher levels.
Special needs learners in secondary school will average an age of between 14 years to 22 years. However, there are exceptional cases whereby, for one reason or another, you might receive a student who is aged, but many a times such students are referred by the Ministry of Education.
However, there are challenges they are currently facing.
We have a challenge in terms of assistive devices. When I talk of assistive devices, are items or equipments that learners with visual impairment need for reading and writing. A good example is a Braille machine. Braille machines, one piece goes at 110,000.
With a population of more than 600 learners, the classrooms are not enough.
I have a big group. The class is so large. It is supposed to be split so that at least I give attention to those ones, especially those without sight. But because of the lack of infrastructure, I'm not able. So it forces me to have the whole group, both the sighted and the blind, being taught at the same time. I don't move fast. So you realize that some of the learners, especially those who have sight, they might be fast. Because when you write an expression like x squared plus 3 is equal to 7, the sighted student will just write very fast. But for the totally blind, you realize even the equipment they use, they're making a lot of noise. You have to be very slow. And we are also having environmental interference. So those are some of the challenges we go through. So you realize that I may not be able to finish the syllabus early and move with the whole class together. I use the blackboard because part of my class, I have two classes in one. One bit of the class, they have little sight, and the other half does not have sight at all. So the ones that have sight, I write on the board so that we can make use of the residual sight. And then for them that do not see at all, I keep on repeating. That's why you saw me, I was very slow, so that I ensure that they are writing using the equipments and the gadgets they are having.
With the invention of the Orbit Reader, they are yet to get enough gadgets for all the learners.
By the coming of Orbit, it has helped even our performance. Our performance has really improved. Because instead of you as a teacher going to class to dictate notes and students write word by word, you only take the notes, put them in your phone, and you send them to the Orbit using Bluetooth, just like sending a message. Within a twinkle of an eye, the student has all the notes. So you save the time for copying, the student will just use the time for learning. So it makes work very easy. Orbit is one of the very good learning equipment because you know Orbit, it's like a phone. It keeps so many things. And then Orbit is good because all the books, it can store a lot of information. Orbit saves time. Orbit, you realize that instead of the learner going to the library searching for the books and the time they take to search for each and every book, when they have the Orbit, they just click and it opens up. They just click and it opens up. Even the notes, you can send the notes from the phone or from the website to the Orbit directly. So it makes work easy. But unfortunately, our totally blind students or the Braille users are so many, and we are having very few Orbits.
An Orbit reader, one piece goes at 80,000. You will find that these devices are very, very expensive, and sometimes, as a school administration, Meeting the cost of these devices is not easy. It only becomes easy when you have to talk to donors, well-wishers, support organizations to come in and assist the school.
Also, to make learning easier, learners who are partially blind require large print textbooks.
For learners with low vision, they don't have a big challenge because the government provides print textbooks, but however, they are just the normal print. They are not large print. We would request that we see whether the government can provide large print textbooks alongside the normal textbooks they bring. In addition, this school has totally blind learners who may require braille books. The government began providing braille books, but they come in smaller ratios after a very long interval of time. How we wish that this provision of braille books was regularized so that we get adequate braille books that can enable learners with blindness succeed well in academics. Because the career market is competitive. The job market is competitive. Sometimes it picks the best, and these learners have no exception. They have to compete very well or compete favorably with the other learners.
The learners without sight, you realize that they are using not very good equipment. For example, you realize that some were using some table, something red. They were writing with something like a needle. So that one is called a slate and styler, which is very difficult to use. You have for the learner to write like one letter. You must prick another one. So the speed is terribly slow. Otherwise, they are not very modern, and then they are very disadvantageous because they are very slow, and they are disadvantageous to mathematics as a subject because that square board that you saw, you write numbers upside down and then you turn them for you to be able to see what it is. So it is quite cumbersome for the learners, and sometimes they get tired on the way, and then they find learning as a very tedious process. So it also discourages the learners.
Our braille machines currently are around 50, whereas learners who need to use the braille machines are around 80. So we normally mitigate with items that are known as slates, but ideally speaking, a slate is a device that is not supposed to be found in a high school. You only use it because of trying to mitigate the challenge of lacking braille machines.
The school has received government funding, but due to the ever-increasing number of learners, the construction of classrooms and girls' dormitory have stagnated.
When we came in this land in 2015, shortly a ban in terms of infrastructure ensued. So it meant that we wouldn't do any form of infrastructure development. Luckily, the ban was lifted on May 2022. So we moved very fast, mobilized the little resources we had in our accounts, and began constructing those classrooms there and this dormitory here for girls. We are putting up a dormitory of 224 girls, and the classrooms are supposed to be 12 units. We have begun the first 4. We are hoping that we shall get resources to do the other 8.
Initially, the school shared the same infrastructure with the neighboring primary school before they moved.
Kibos Special Secondary is a school that was begun in 2009. It was housed in Kibos VI Primary for about 6 years. That means that in this land, the school came in this land in 2015.
It is only the other day we were trying to come up with the modern dormitory. Then the finances were limited and we were not able to finish because we wanted a modern dormitory. We didn't just want something small because the number of our students is large and the number of learners asking to be admitted here with the site issues, the number is very big.
This, therefore, means that they require financial resources to ensure that the school is fully set up.
It cannot be a responsibility of a few individuals. All people are supposed to come on board and support. So I want to take this forum to appeal to the wider community, even if possible, the international community. This school is supposed to be a model school, so let people come in and support us to erect these structures to support this school. I believe this school is supposed to be a model school. It's supposed to be a center of excellence for learners with visual impairment or for learners with special needs.
Lack of the money or the prompt release of the funds, you realize that we are not able to give our children quality food. So we only give the basic that we can afford. Yes, because when many of our suppliers, they run away. Because if you supplied 2 years ago, you've not been paid, the following year you supplied, you cannot take again the third time. And then when the money is released, you'll realize that maybe the debts are so many and you're not able to pay everything.
A center of excellence means that the school is well resourced in terms of infrastructure. The school is well resourced in terms of assistive devices, learning materials, and the school is ready to receive learners far and wide, even from international countries, and it is able to meet their needs almost adequately. We may not really be excellent that way, but almost adequate resources in terms of mitigating or preparing these learners with special needs towards the career market and later on the job market.
It is the need to touch lives that motivates the staff here to keep going despite the challenges.
We have internal motivation. We have internal motivation. Sometimes external motivation is rare or it may not come our way. As our hearts, the teachers, the members of BOM, the non-teaching staff, we are so internally motivated and we want to touch the lives of these learners. We want to see these learners compete with the other folk in the career market. We want to see them take their share of the job market. So it is that drive that you want to see a learner with visual impairment succeeding, being self-reliant in the near future, grabbing the few jobs that exist is our motivation.
The principal therefore calls for well wishes to help him achieve his dream of building the school to a center of excellence.
Raising learners with disabilities, it cannot be a responsibility of a few individuals. All people are supposed to come on board and support. So I want to take this forum to appeal to the wider community, even if possible, the international community. This school is supposed to be a model school, so let people come in and support us to erect these structures to support this school. I believe this school is supposed to be a model school. It's supposed to be a center of excellence for learners with visual impairment or for learners with special needs. And when we talk of center of excellence or model school. There is none for special needs. Let us begin with the Kibos Special Secondary.